Hi. One of my pet peeves in class is that we don't have enough time to stretch. So I really want to emphasize how important stretching is as a component of fitness. It's just as important as training. It's just as important as kicking, as punching, as lifting weights, as moving. If you're stuck, if your muscles aren't balanced and you're not stretched out appropriately, then there's going to be trouble down the road. So why do we need to stretch? Because muscles get shortened from our activity in daily life. Maybe you're carrying a child, or maybe you're carrying a bag, or maybe you're constantly answering your phone or working on your computer twisted in one direction. What happens is during those daily activity, our muscles get shortened. So say if I'm constantly turned like this working on my computer or answering the phone, then I'm going to be longer here and shortened here. So what we want to do is balance out the body. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some lower body stretches for using a chair. So the most basic exercise is a quadricep stretch. So easily you're going to take your knee and bring it close to each other, roll your shoulder back, and drive the hip forward, and you're going to feel a stretch in the front of that thigh. We want to try to hold our stretches for at least 10 to 30 seconds. So that's basic quadricep stretch. The opposing muscle group to a quadricep is a hamstring. So I like using the chair because you can really think about where your hips are. So I want you to fold forward with a nice flat back, but not let that hip roll forward. So you see how you can see my hip, it's a little more forward. This glute is way, way back. We want to keep the hip square, and then hinge forward with a flat back. So very often I'll tell my students, put your hands back and hinge forward from here. And that way they're going to get a better stretch in their leg. This is focusing on the back of the leg, the hamstring. If you want to get the outer hamstring, still keeping that back straight, you would add a little bit of rotation, just a slight bit with the shoulders, and that moves the stretch into the outer hamstring. From here, we would go ahead and stretch the inner thighs. How we would do that is I would turn my base foot 90 degrees away from my extended leg. I take my hand on my thigh and I externally rotate the thigh, and then I sink into my stretch by bending at my knee and hinging forward at my hips. Again, I have a nice flat back. I might hold this for 10 seconds and then come up. So that's 3. Now we're going to work on the psoas. So because of the position I'm in, I'm going to go ahead and do the right psoas. I have my students put their foot in the chair and then their hands here. Now for some of them, they need a cushion underneath, and you'll be able to tell. What I want them to be able to do is get their knee all the way down to the floor, have a nice straight line from here, and this knee is straight ahead. So depending on their length of their legs, you might need a little cushion under the knee for them to be able to do this, or depending on how tight they are in their hip flexor. And then from here, all we do is lift up. We don't arch back, we don't tuck the tailbone, we just lengthen the spine. The psoas attaches at the lower back, wraps around the front of the hip, and attaches on the inner thigh. So they could be feeling the stretch in any of those spaces. But from repeated kicking, it gets very shortened. So it's a really important stretch. Okay, one last stretch for the butt. We do a figure 4 stretch. So you cross that ankle. So say I'm crossing my left ankle over my right thigh. I square my shoulders with my legs, and then I think about bringing my chest towards my shin. You can see. Try to keep the foot flexed and the ankle bone beyond the right thigh, and then just hinge forward from here. Okay? We're going to go ahead and do a calf stretch now. Last one. So you're going to take your right foot forward and your left foot back, and using the chair, lean your torso forward, but keep the heel on the mat. So that's going to stretch the gastroc, nice long muscle. And then the second one would be to bring that left foot behind you, put all your weight into it, and drive your left knee into the right knee. So you're sinking, and that's getting the soleus muscle, which is the other muscle in the calf. Again, you would hold both stretches for at least 10, 15, 30 seconds at best, and then come up.